everybody? Welcome to Capital Combat. The name says it all. I'm Hakeem Branch.
Rob Jarrell.
And today we're going to recap this past Saturday's Manny Pacquiao versus Jesse Vargas pay-per-view, in which we had 4 very good fights, all WBO title matches. So it's a WBO title showcase. We didn't talk too much about the undercard, but we'll touch on it a little bit because, like I said, the fights were pretty entertaining. Take it away, Rob.
All right, so the first one was Zhu Shiming versus someone whose name I cannot pronounce, but I'm pretty sure he's from Thailand. Or was it Philippines?
I have no clue. I just knew he was there to get beat.
And beat he got.
Yeah, I don't think he won a round.
Right. Even Zhu Shiming even got a knockdown in that fight. He moves to 8-1. He looked pretty good. Now it's time to see him in with some real names. He is in the, was it 115?
112.
112 division. So hopefully I don't even know anyone in that division.
Yeah, Chocolatito just moved up. He's got some people down there.
There's some people down there that he can face. It's just time for him to face them because when he stepped up for his first championship bout, he lost. This one, he won.
Yeah, and won it pretty handy. It was actually his best performance to date. He cut a lot of great angles. His combinations were crisp. He's very sharp. So we have to give him props for that, and his opponent for being game even though he was outmatched.
That's right.
So next up, we had Jesse Magdaleno versus Nonito Donaire for what I believe was a vacant belt. It was a vacant WBO featherweight.
No, I think Nonito was defending. Well, let's have to double check.
Yeah, we'll double check that. Put it right.
We'll put it at the bottom.
But speaking of that fight, it was very competitive, especially early on.
That's right.
Both guys were very sharp, very accurate. I was very impressed with the movement of Magdaleno. I did not expect that, and his defense was on point as well, dodging several Nonito Donaire counters because Donaire, as we all know, loves that left hook, and he was trying very hard to land it the entire fight.
Now, toward the second half of the fight is where we started to see a change. Nonito Donaire, instead of trying to set up his punches and put them together, he started, to me, walking toward or walking after Magdaleno instead of being on his toes and trying to cut the ring and set up those shots. And I don't know if it was the shots that he was catching from Magdaleno or his conditioning, because you can see a vast difference. Because he was on his toes in the first 6 rounds. He was trying to put them together. He landed some really good shots. And I would actually say that Nonito Donaire landed the harder shots when he landed, especially toward the end with that lead right or counter right. Mm-hmm. But Magdaleno fighting out that southpaw stance was just much more accurate, much more active, and much sharper. And you can see the difference because Magdaleno hasn't really had too much wear on him. He's still pretty young. So-so competition in my opinion, and Nonito Donaire has been through some wars as well as getting pretty beat up in the Walters fight and getting outclassed in the Rigondeaux fight.
Yeah, and he was having a little trouble in that second Darchinian fight as well, but he was bailed out with his great left hook. But the big thing for me was in the second half of the fight, like Rob was saying, when he started trying to walk him down, he completely abandoned the jab.
Oh, yes. And but he did jab, and when he jabbed, this is where Magdaleno was sharper because he would really counter that jab with a jab of his own.
Yeah, and he might have taken that jab away from Donaire, but I think he still could have had, if he disguised it better, he could have had more success with it. But you got to give credit to Magdaleno because he just beat one of the best guys of the last 10 years in Donaire. So he's got to get a lot of props for that. He's now a player in that division. Lomachenko just moved up as well as Walters. Mm-hmm. But there's still some guys down there who he can have a credible fight with. And maybe Rigondeaux can come up. You got Frampton and Santa Cruz, who are both there. Mm-hmm. Quigg, who I believe is at 122, he could come up.
And I think he plans on coming up eventually because he wants that much desired rematch versus Frampton.
Yeah, so there are players down there, so we're excited to see what's going to happen with that. Now, in the co-main event, we had Oscar Valdez
versus Hiroshige Asawa.
Yes. And the last fight of Valdez, I was very impressed with him. I was like, man, this kid looks like he's going to be the goods. This one I was a little more, yeah. And the reason is because if you watch, like, his power is there. It's undeniable. But he was actually, you could see him literally forcing the power out, like trying very hard to land shots, everything. Even his jab looked like he was trying to knock him out with the jab. But if you watch other fighters who we consider punchers, like if you watch Gennady Golovkin or Sergey Kovalev, or even like Deontay Wilder and those guys, you see them put the motion into their punch. They punch with the correct technique, and it may not look hard, but the results are shown. And with Valdez, you could see him clearly trying to land a hard shot rather than, instead of using the correct technique and letting the power carry, using his kinetic chain and throwing the proper punch the correct way.
Now, he did get his opponent out of there eventually,
yes,
but I believe...
The 7th round, right?
Yeah. I believe that came with the moment because it was technically a pay-per-view. He was the co-main event, so his desire, and Aaron probably told him, look good so we can continue to get you these matchups, get you this money, and get you this exposure. And he probably took that as, I got to get this guy out of here. Which, again, he did, but you can see that going forward, he still will be able to. He just has to be more methodical because doing that and running into the wrong opponent will either get you outboxed or knocked out because you're opening up and putting everything. And yeah, if you're carried in the later rounds and you're loading up and putting everything you have in each one, you're going to tire yourself out.
That was the point I was going to make. Since you already made it, we're going to move on. That fight was also at 126, wasn't it?
I believe so.
So we're not going to move on because maybe him and Magdaleno can fight.
That's right.
So now we'll move on. All right. We're going to talk about the Manny Pacquiao versus Jesse Vargas. And in our preview video, we pretty much asked you guys to let us know if you thought Vargas would win, how he could win, because we couldn't see it. Instead, we got more people saying that Vargas didn't have a chance. So nobody really gave Vargas a chance. And he did surprisingly well.
That's right.
He still didn't win a lot of rounds. I think I might have given him 2, maybe 3 tops.
I gave him the middle rounds because about that time, Pacquiao is usually when he kind of takes a break, he kind of tries to get to the second half or the last 3 or 4 rounds. So like the 5th through the 6th, you can see him where he takes breaks. And even doing the rounds early and late, he'll take breaks, but he'll explode. With this one, he did, to me, either took rounds off, and that's where Vargas was able to outwork him and start to find a rhythm because that right hand was there as the fight wore on.
Yeah. And Vargas was pretty successful with his arsenal as well. He landed his jab frequently. He landed that counter right a lot. He worked the body well. He caught Pacquiao coming in late in the fight. But it never really had any kind of real effect on Pacquiao. He just kept going about his business. And when you're fighting someone on that level, you've got to make them not want to come in. And unfortunately for Vargas. And then being Manny Pacquiao and walking into shots for 4 fights against Juan Manuel Marquez, we know he really doesn't care. His temperament is he's going to get there and he wants to get his punches in.
Right.
So maybe another welterweight thinks twice when taking those shots from Vargas. Honestly, I doubt it with, like 11 knockouts and close to 30 wins. The power isn't really there. But he still made a good account of himself.
And don't forget, his last 2 fights, Timothy Bradley and Saddam Ali, he knocked Ali out with that right hand, and he caught Bradley with that right hand.
Yes. So he's actually getting better with his delivery, and that's probably due to, working with the new coach, Dewey Cooper, who is a very good coach. And they just ran into one of the best fighters of the last 15 years. So there's really nothing to be ashamed about in that. But there was still flaws there when looking at Manny. But his supreme talent level overshadowed it all.
That's right.
It's like he was still reaching with the left hand. Like Rob said, he was taking a lot of breaks. But, you know, he is 37. You got to give him that. But that speed was still there.
And the pop is there, but keep in mind, he hasn't had a knockout. He's had knockdowns,
yes,
but he hasn't had a knockout since
2009.
That's right. And that could come with age because he is a high energy fighter moving in and out. So he's more so okay with boxing and not necessarily pressing for the knockout. And we all know Freddie Roach does want Pacquiao to press for the knockout, or at least go for the knockout more so.
Yeah. So we'll see what he does from here. He's pretty much the man at welterweight again, because when he beat Bradley, he became the lineal champ again, correct?
Yes.
So technically he said he retired, but he didn't even stay out longer than like 4 months. So I guess technically he's still the champ.
And he's still the champ. He's a champ now. He's the WBO champ.
Yeah.
So he has a belt. We know the IBF belt belongs to Kell Brook.
Yes.
We know
I think Danny Garcia has a WBC.
And
Keith Thurman has a WBA.
But there's probably like 7 champions with the WBA belt. So
yeah. Yeah, because what's the guy that just beat Shane Mosley? He has a portion of the WBA belt.
Hovhannissian.
Yeah, Art Hovhannissian. So
No, not Hovhannissian. Hovhannissian.
yeah, sorry. Got the Venetians mixed up. Anyway, yes, there are a lot of title holders in the WBA. But if I'm Manny Pacquiao, I'll probably stay away from those guys. I'll stay away from Terrence Crawford. I'll stay away from Lomachenko at 135. Any of those young guys that can take the attack to you, be smart about it, and fight a full 12 rounds, you don't want to go in there with those guys, because they probably put the final nail in the coffin. And that's not a bad thing, but it is, because, you know, no one wants to see someone of that magnitude go out like that. Sometimes it's necessary, but I would prefer he just ride off into the sunset and we say thanks for the memories. But it's his life and he can do what he wants. You got anything else?
That's all we got for you, everyone.
Yep. Thanks for watching. Make sure you like this video. If you have not done so, make sure you subscribe. Thank you. Check out our Technical Toolbox series on how Sergey Kovalev and Andre Ward could defeat each other.
That's happening in less than 2 weeks.
Yes. And stay tuned next week for our actual predictions on that fight, where we'll talk about what we said in the video, what we've watched and seen over the past few months and years with both guys, and we'll make our pick. We'll also be having the UFC 205 preview coming this week as well. I think I'm going to be doing that one solo, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you'll just get me. Hit us up on any of our social media networks. Links are down below. And we'll see you in the next video. Peace.
This is round 1 and you've already lost. They don't seem to see that everything we've done is coming and cost. My fists are on fire. I perform till I perspire. My demons are in a rage. Keep thinking that it's a game. I kick rhyme, hurricane. I told them I don't play. I'm liquid.
Black Street Fighter.